Welcome back to episode 42 of Tall Boy Radio. This week, we're going to be talking about phobias, something that most people have. And I'd be interested to find out from these two guys their perspectives and their fears. So without further ado, do you want to say hello, Andy, and tell us a little bit about what you're drinking?
Hello. I am drinking a double trouble rum and Coke. Very nice. It's probably the only rum I like. So go and buy it.
There you go. Excellent endorsement. Excellent endorsement. Gaza?
Hi, guys. Great to be back again. I'm drinking a good old TVR favourite of Hoy Garden out of official TVR merch.
Nice.
So, yeah, I love a bit of Hoy Garden. So, all good. What about yourself, Ad?
I
can see that
It's that time of year when Titanic breweries release their seasonal ale. I'll stick it up to the camera, dude. And this is their Plum Porter, but they've doubled down on it. It's 6.5% and it is infused with port. So it is lovely, deep and rich and sweet. And like I say, it's got that, even though it's got 6.5% alcohol compared to, I think it's 4.8, 4.9, the Plum Porter normally is. Actually doesn't taste like it, but I tell you what, get yourself down if you're locally in the Stoke area to the brew house there, to the brewery. It's in Tunstall. Pick yourself up a couple of bottles of this. £9 for one of those bottles, and I think they're doing a 2 litre bottle for around about £30 as well. So I might be back and knocking on their door. So this isn't the first episode we've recorded tonight. We're not going to talk anything about the other one, but we're just going to say it's a little bit different, wasn't it? The other one that we recorded earlier today.
Yeah, a little bit different. Hopefully the TVR listeners and watchers will sort of enjoy it. It is something that we haven't really done before.
No.
So yeah, we'll hopefully wait for the positive feedback, and if it's negative feedback, then so be it. We'll take it on the chin and we'll take it on board and we'll move forward.
That's it. But ultimately, we don't know when it's going to be dropped, and we just left that little teaser there for you. But I think people will enjoy it. Just something a little bit different. So before we start out tonight, then I want to just do a couple of shout outs to a couple of people, because we trailed it before, and yes, we've left it about a week or so, but Dark Wolf 180, he launched his channel. Did you watch it, Gaza?
I did watch it.
Top man. So yeah, what did you make of it?
I enjoyed it.
I did. I thought it was something a bit different.
So I enjoyed it. Something a bit different. Left me intrigued and wanting to see what's to come. What else has he got? What's the plan moving forward? Great to see the little shout out to Double Trouble Drinks on the bottom as well. That's in partnership with. So that's fantastic. Couple of people that obviously in a very small way we've had contact with. Dark Wolf in a slightly bigger way in terms of what he contributed to our charity and stuff. But yeah, enjoyed it. Was great. Would still love to get him on here. Love to get him on here, but I don't know.
I have asked the question.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, look, what's he going to do? Is the momentum that he seems to have got, is that going to continue, get bigger and bigger and bigger? So yeah, excited about it. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. Actually, I was quite interested to see. Obviously, you did the live launch. You know, we watched it on the night, Halloween. The kids were in bed, so we stuck it on and we enjoyed it. Interesting to see how he's done it afterwards, though, with the different segments broken down into the videos that then he's put onto his YouTube channel. I thought it was a real interesting way of doing it. Somebody else I wanted to give a shout out to as well. Somebody's contacted us about coming onto the podcast next year. A gentleman by the name of Johnny Cree. So he's a Lone Wolf 180 on Twitter. If you're interested in getting a set of flights made, get in contact with him. And he's going to be coming on next year. We're going to do an episode. We're going to dedicate it to darts. And he's going to come on and he's going to talk about, obviously, darts and what he does and how he makes his flights. And check him out on Twitter, because the stuff he does is to the nth degree of perfection. This guy takes his artwork very, very seriously. Not only will he print the darts, but he actually does the designs himself. He takes our design. So he has a Tall Boy Radio. He has all our information. I've sent it through, and he's going to do something for us. So I'm really, really keen to see how that works out. Yeah. And obviously, we'll then get him on and talk him on. He can talk through the process of how he went out. And one final shout out I want to give is to Tiddy and Shiner. So this drops on Friday morning. the day after their podcast on the Thursday, and it is the last one that they are recording in Chelsea, Oklahoma. So that'll be interesting. On Big Titty's Ranch, the property where it is has been sold. So where they'll record it from next, I don't know. Whether it's the back of Donny's Trans Am, who knows? But all the best to those guys. Looking forward to see what they produce, and very much looking forward to their concept of the morning show that they want to do, a YouTube channel. 2 or 3 hours of those two guys talking and doing a more. I love that. Obviously, I've volunteered this as being their first guests.
I saw that. I saw that on Twitter actually when it came in. And I can't remember how it started, but it was like, oh, you're contemplating guests, and you were like, yeah, I'm in. We're in, and you're like, yeah, you're first on the list. Okay, fair enough.
We don't have to fly out there for it, but we could.
That's in 2021. Is it getting expensive year?
2020 is going to be a very expensive year. So this week then, actually, does anybody else want to do any shout outs before I move on?
Not other than the regular sort of Bill, Ron, who sort of listen and comment and just a big thank you really from me. We're trying to grow TBR. So whichever country you're in, however you listen to us, viewers, whatever platform it may be, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. We'd love to keep getting your feedback. So just for me, just a big thanks, big shout out to all of our listeners, subscribers and all of that, people that retweet us. Jamaliard retweets us a lot. A couple of other sort of shout outs on Twitter, sort of, that sort of retweet us. So yeah, just everybody that's helping to try and get the name TBR out there, then much appreciated.
And thank you to Poland, who was still in the charts.
Thank you to Poland, who was 44th. 44th,
yeah.
Yes.
We peaked at 17.
That's phenomenal. That's to quote an Adam word on TBR, it's phenomenal. That is, it's 17. Yeah. It's brilliant.
So,
it's brilliant.
My Polish is poor, but dziękuję to the people of Poland for listening to us. Andy, you got any shout outs?
Not really, no. No, just echo you guys in because people like retweet our stuff, and hopefully it will continue, and we try and retweet yours as well.
We do. We definitely appreciate it. So phobias. Gaz, you did A-level psychology, didn't you? So you must have some knowledge of this. I've written down the dictionary definition though, but I'm pretty sure you can give us a definition.
Oh, here we go. Put me on the spot now. I don't actually know the dictionary definition, but I assume it would be something like a fear of an event or a memory or a fear that manifests itself in a physical response or something like that. I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah. It's an overwhelming fear of an object, place, situation, feeling, or an animal. So it's an irrational fear or an aversion.
Does it have to be irrational?
Well, that was a dictionary definition. It was an irrational fear. So in terms of, let's.
If you got mauled by a bear and therefore had a phobia of bears, would that be irrational?
No, I would say that would be irrational. But that would be a fear as opposed to a phobia. Because it's tangible, isn't it? You should be afraid of bears.
Yeah, after that, yeah.
Yeah, or before. Yeah. Not the Chicago Bears, certainly not if you're New Orleans Saints. Out of context here, because we're a week later. But anyway. So let's start off then with our own personal phobias or fears. Who wants to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I was thinking about this. I'll go first. I was thinking about this. And I haven't got many. But one that I did have, but I sort of don't have it now because I think I've got over it, was, but would it be a fear? No, you just said that. Was dentists.
I don't think that's a fear. That would be a phobia, because dentists aren't there to do any specific harm.
Yeah. So
understanding of their profession.
Yeah. I think so. Growing up, I think I did. I think I had a phobia of dentists, really, and I've sort of got over that. Now I'm 47. But yeah. So growing up, not really. Your traditional arachnophobia and agoraphobia and claustrophobia. Look, I don't think anybody really enjoys enclosed spaces and stuff, do they? But I don't think I have a phobia about them. So no, not loads.
Andy?
I was just trying to categorize like everything I'm afraid of. No, I don't know. I have not heights, but certain whatever I'm being held in by if I'm high up, for example. So I don't mind heights. I've done rock climbing, I've said a lot of stuff. But then when we had Centre Parks, for example, we had this automated system where you don't feel the rope, you just have to jump off. And when you've dropped about a half a metre or something, then it kicks in. I didn't like that. So I don't know if that's fear or phobia or what.
Well, funny enough, actually, when I always talk to Kim about, what should I put in this episode? I'll do my notes and I'll say, give us any ideas. And she says, you have to mention that time we were at Centre Parks and Andy didn't like jumping off things. It's like, I'm not going to bring that up. if Andy wants to bring it up, that's just fine. But no, I'm not going to bring it up. And I said, besides, she wasn't too keen either.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Andy was really afraid. Because you were fine, weren't you?
The biggest surprise about that is actually I'm okay at rock climbing and the jumping up. Actually, the falling off I was quite good at as well.
See, I don't mind heights. It sort of genuinely doesn't bother me, really. I know loads of people have like fear of heights and stuff, but
yeah,
I don't think I've been up quite a few tall buildings and stuff, and sort of got to the top, and it doesn't. I don't get to the top and think, oh my god,
The thing about heights is an irrational fear. Falling isn't. That don't make sense, because when you're high up, that's fine. It's just falling down that creates the problem. For myself, I wouldn't say I was afraid of heights, but do you ever get to the top of you're on top of the tall building? I think of you've been on top of the Empire State's building, the Stratosphere in Vegas. I get an overwhelming feeling of being pulled over the side, almost like there's something inside me that's just pulling me a little bit forward. Do you ever get that sensation?
Yeah, I get that. It's like what would happen if I fall off now?
Yeah,
and I always have a tendency to lean over.
Yeah, loads of people do that. They go like, oh, I really don't like that. Oh, and they sort of lean forward and stuff.
At what point is my centre of gravity too far?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, that is. Whoa, that was it. Just then.
Yeah, back then. And no, I don't think I get a sense of a feeling of sort of being pulled to the edge or wanting to fall off. I know something that could have been an innuendo there. Did you know? So I changed what I was going to say.
You've got a phobia of being pulled off. That's debilitating.
So, but no, I think it's pretty weird that when you go up like really tall buildings, it's for me it's the perspective of the world from a different view. So you look down and literally people are like tiny and it does run through your mind and think, if I was to fall off or slip or whatever or jump, would there be panic or would there be just actually when I hit the floor I'm gonna be dead? So is it like a serene moment where you just calm? And for me, there's a bit in my mind that thinks I wonder what that feeling would be like if I jumped off, slipped, whatever, but not to the extent that I'm then afraid of it. It's not a phobia, but it's just a curiosity as to what that feeling would be like, I suppose. But no, I never feel as though I'm being sort of pulled towards the edge or whatever. No, not really.
Interesting though. We all got three. Neither of us should say we're necessarily afraid of heights, but there's three different perspectives there. I think you know what my phobia is, don't you?
Well, you're spiders.
I'm petrified of spiders, and that is a phobia because I know, certainly living in the UK, it's an irrational fear because they cannot physically do me any harm. The big ones aren't nice to look at. I remember going to see Ricky Gervais actually live, and he did a joke about being afraid of spiders. And the thing about spiders is they've always got that look they're ready to go. You never see them relaxing, do you? Never lying there, legs out to one side.
To be fair, dude, I can't say I've ever looked at a spider and thought, yeah, he's going to pounce.
Oh, dude, but they're ready to
That
go.
genuinely,
They are
that
ready
thought
to go.
never crosses my mind.
I mean, you like, obviously I've got 2 young kids and they love Peppa Pig, and I know you find it funny, but Mr. Skinny Legs
is a main character. You see, it's funny
me.
because Abigail, who's my youngest daughter, isn't a massive fan of spiders. Amy is my oldest daughter, isn't a massive fan of spiders, but could just about cope. Jane, my wife, doesn't really like spiders, and she measures spiders in like currents. Like, oh my god, it's like a 5 current body, and it's like, so how big are 5 currents are anyway? And so they're like Jenny's like Gaz, and like Abby's like Dad, sort of thing. And I'm like, what? She said, spider, it's massive. And you go up there, and it literally is like that. And you're like,
that's big.
You're like, really,
that's big.
like really, like, come on. And I said, what are you going to be like when you go to like uni and stuff? You get to your own home. I said, there's no way I'm driving up or down the motorway for 2 hours to come and move a bloody spider. Sort yourself out. I'm not having it. But no spider. Look, I've been to Australia, and while I was there, I never encountered any of the sort of the redbacks or whatever, or the funnel webs or whatever. So never really encountered any of them. You've come across in the UK some biggish spiders, you know, and you think, oh, okay. The girls are like, oh, it's massive. You're like, yeah, whatever. You go in there and you're like, oh, actually, it's quite big, sort of thing. Doesn't bother me. I think if you put me in the middle of deepest, darkest Amazon rainforest and a massive fudge off tarantula walked across, I'll be like, whoa, I'm not going anywhere near that sort of thing. But
I would say tarantulas is a different thing because there's a tangible fear of those because they can do you physical harm. Now, when you talk about large spiders, we had one in our last house, right? Which, you know, we bought off Big Grey. And Kim, you know, much like Jenny and Abby and Amy, literally, there's a big spider. And literally, you think, it's a spider.
It's a money spider.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Regardless of its size, it's a big spider.
Yeah.
And anyway, I went into the bathroom and Jesus, I have never seen anything like it. Its body was as big as a bird. Its legs were thick. Actually, I was there with the Dyson ready to suck it up. And I thought, I am not confident that this is going to fit down, even if I take the plug. It was.
Dude, if it's in the UK, it's not going to hurt you.
You say that, but my brother got bitten by a spider. And
he did, actually, yeah.
He had a hole in his arm.
To be fair, I did see that, yeah. I did see that.
This event was prior to that. So, honestly, it was terrifying. I sucked it up, but I did not sleep that night. I left the Dyson.
Why did you not sleep? You sucked up in a Dyson. It's not going to crawl out, dude.
You don't know that. You don't know.
Dude, I'd be amazed if it survived.
Well, I left it on so that, you know. I actually
you might have scared it with your Ned Flanders scream. Like.
Quite possibly. I actually, you know, funnily enough, we're going back to Dyson. I sent a design to Dyson that I drew on my phone, and it was a retrofitted. I called it Spider Murderer. So you attach it to the end of a Dyson and you shook it up, and obviously the suction power pulls on these pulleys and it causes a spinning motion and creates spinning blades inside of it. Obviously, fairly dangerous for small children and some adults and perverts as well. but yes, basically it sucks the spider through and chops it up as it went through.
Why would you do that? It's dead. When it goes into the...
It is after that's been applied.
Honestly,
James Dyson did not reply.
Well, I mean, it's funny. I mean, look, arachnophobia is one of probably the most common phobias. I don't know the stats, but I would imagine it's one of the most common sort of phobias. And I suppose in that sense, I'm relatively lucky. Like I say, I think if I saw Shelob or whatever, or from Harry Potter, is it Aragog or Gorg, whatever, walking, I'd be like, whoa, that, you know, hold on a minute, you know, that's a little bit, you know, that might stop me in my tracks, sort of thing. But
where do you suppose that fear of spiders comes from? There's so many people have it. Where does it come from?
It's just because, for me, my missus is scared of them as well. But we've got one in our bathroom which she's not bothered by. And I think it's
is it like a pet? Is that just the same one as it just keeps reappearing? You know,
feed it some chicken every so often. No, it's like I think it's like sort of an unknown thing because if you look at it, like she can see it more often now because it was like being a window or whatever, and she's more comfortable with it because she knows it just stays there when she goes in and out or whatever. But for me, I like them just because they kill flies and stuff. I hate mosquitoes. and they'll eat anything, spiders.
Well,
But yeah, she's just got
are
used
actually
to
quite good for you though, for that reason. Don't they kill lots of other
supposedly
flies and stuff?
Yeah, supposedly. Well, my cousin Jack's lived in Australia, and he sent me pictures of one they had in a shower, and it was like that. It's like, no. And one even bigger, literally the side of the picture of his girlfriend at the time sleeping in the bed. This giant spider by the time. It's like, did you kill it? It's like, oh, no, that one wasn't dangerous.
Well, I was going to say, because some of the bigger spiders you get in the spindly legs and stuff looks a bit like Mr. Skinny Legs. They're not actually that dangerous as such. But like your little sort of funnel webs or your little sort of the diamond redback or whatever they call, they're quite small actually. But and when Jenny went to Australia, I think did she say that they'd got a spider in? She stayed with one of her friends and they were in a room. I can't remember whether it's. I think it's a dangerous one. Maybe, and I might be doing a friend a bit of a disservice now, but basically a friend was like, oh, let's sort of scoot this up and go on, out you go, sort of thing. And Jenny's like, sort of thing. But yeah, so look, I think if there was a massive, great big one and you could see the hairs on its legs and all of that sort of stuff, I'd be like, whoa, but for me, nah, just okay. I don't get a sense of when I see them, oh my God, sort of thing. I don't get that.
I freeze.
I don't get that at all.
I'm really.
But why?
I don't know. There's a school of thought, actually, I asked you guys what you thought it might be. There's a school of thought that actually dates back to the time when we were cavemen. And obviously, dimly lit caves, something like that could be dangerous. So there is that inbuilt fear within it. Is that something that's. Do you believe that?
Nah.
Andy? No, it's just me being a
Just you then, just you man up. That's what he needs to do. Just basically man up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 26% of Brits will think twice about doing something based on their phobias.
Yeah.
15% of Brits will lose sleep over their phobias. Now, here's what actually, because I think it was in the last episode we did, which was on Guy Fawkes. I think we talked about fires. It's not necessarily a phobia because it is something that genuinely can do you harm. You mentioned the fact you're not a big fan of fire.
Hate fire. I don't think it's is it a phobia? I don't know.
I think if you Googled it, you'd come across something. I'm going to guess. I don't know.
Fear.
This is what it's called. Pyrophobia.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. If it's a phobia or a fear, and I don't quite know the distinction, but yes, maybe. I've never had any sort of negative experiences with fire. I've never massively burnt myself or anything else, but I genuinely don't like open flame. I don't like even waving around sort of cigarette lighters or matches and I'll go and watch a bonfire and stuff, but yeah, I don't like sort of open flames and stuff. So yeah, I suppose I am a bit of a pyrophobia, if that's even a word. But is it phobia? Is it a fear? Don't know. So, but yeah, maybe, yeah, more that possibly more, maybe not more than the dentist, but yeah, that might be one actually. I generally don't like fire and flame and stuff.
Because one of the big things is obviously facing your fear and facing your phobia, and obviously the situations in life where people have had to obviously face being trapped in a burning building, which, again, I don't have a necessarily phobia of fire, and if you ever seen my garden fires, they are semi-controlled at best. But I can't even imagine being trapped in that situation.
It's weird because now you're talking about the flame, even to the extent that it's on fireworks night or whatever, if you had a sparkler or whatever, I would be thinking, okay, it's not a flame as such, but
there's an opportunity to burn yourself.
Yeah, so I'll be thinking, I'm not a massive fan of them and stuff. So maybe it is a phobia. I don't know. But yeah, I don't like flames. I don't like, even I suppose going back to sort of the old science days of school, like the old Bunsen burner, we're going to burn this. It's like, hated it.
So you never, the point where you attached it to the gas, you never lit that.
Hated it. No, hated it.
Andy, you must have done that. That reckless.
You must have burnt stuff before now. I mean, I never did, but you must have burnt stuff.
I've burnt stuff.
That's going on the next TV. Yeah, I've burnt stuff.
Yeah, what of it? No, it's like whenever like barbecues and stuff like that, or if you go camping, we'll have an open fire, and yeah, I like them. Obviously, you got to respect the fire, and not throw TVs and stuff on it, but
what Andy's referring to is we had a fire at our house. And literally, obviously, I'd had a few beers, so I got carried away. What can we burn next? And there was a TV in the garage that wasn't working, so I started burning that. And then, obviously, at that point, Kim intervened. then literally got to the point every time that they were coming around, like Andy's saying, "Oh yeah, we need to finish burning off that TV." And I was like, "No, actually, we do. We never really saw our hand out."
It's for science.
It was science, yeah. It was, Faraday would have been interested in the consequences of that one. So, you talked about it earlier then, about people being afraid of spiders. Arachnophobia is one of the biggest fears.
Okay.
In terms of, in terms of the UK, the big ones are spiders, heights, snakes, and flying.
Well, you see snakes. So my eldest daughter, Amy, hates snakes. Literally, I don't know where it's come from. She has a massive phobia about them. Don't know whether or not it's something she's seen on TV and just thought, like you, Mr. Spiders and Mr. Skinny. Like I just don't like them. Yeah, she's terrible with snakes.
Any of those other ones that are flying? And either you guys bothered by flying?
No, doesn't bother me. I've seen a couple. Actually, I've seen when I was 17. I went to Australia. One of our tour. I don't know whether she was the doctor or she might have been the wife of the tour manager or whatever. But one of the staff that went with us, she was petrified. And literally, we were on the runway, and you know when you hear the engine sort of kick in and stuff, and she literally is shaking, and her husband is like holding her, and she's literally shaking. And that unnerved. I wasn't unnerved because of the flying. I was unnerved because I could see what it was doing to her, sort of thing. And she literally was like this, and it was like, fudging hell, you must be bad if that's the case, sort of thing. And it didn't help because, and you shouldn't mock it really, but when we went in 1981, the Gulf War was on, so we were originally going to go effectively London, sort of the Middle East, Australia, but because the Gulf War was on, there was like a 1,000-mile no-fly zone or whatever. So we went like Cyprus and then like west coast of Africa, east coast of Africa, down to Singapore, and we went like all around the houses. So there was like, I think there were like 4 or 5 stop-offs and take-offs and stuff every time. Bless her, she was like this. She was absolutely petrified of it. But no, flying sort of doesn't bother me really. And actually doesn't bother really Jenny or the kid. It hurts Abigail and Jenny's ears, just the change in pressure.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually, are you scared of flying? No, not at all. They love it. They absolutely love it.
What about you, Andy?
I never thought about it. Obviously, I've flown to like Athens and stuff like that, and I quite like it, looking out and seeing all the little towns and stuff like that. But there was one point where when I lived in Brussels, and I was flying back once a month from Brussels to Manchester, and it was over summer. I hated it because it'll be the smoothest flight you ever have, and like one flight, it's like we hit a speed bump in the air. The whole plane went bang, and I was like, "The hell was that?" Like my earphones fell out, and I feel like, "The shit was that?" And still, I don't know what it was. Just a bit of turbulence, I think. And then another time, like we were taking off, and when you start going up high, the ascent, and then it just dropped, like really quick, and then went up again. And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get the train now." We started getting like you get like monthly vouchers and stuff like that off the government. So I was like, these eco vouchers, you could use them on the Eurostar. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that for a few months.
It's like, weird though, because go on, carry on.
I was just gonna say, like, so I went Mexico in last December, and flying there was like the smoothest thing ever. It was like this Dreamliner plane and all this. They got mood lights and all that stuff. Easy. Flying back, that plane had a windscreen issue, so you had to go back on this small domestic flight plane from Spain. Oh my god! Like I couldn't fit in the seat, so I was like hunched over. My knees are against the front seat. Hey, my missus there's just like leaning back like that. And it was like I got 8 hours of this, or 9 hours, or whatever it was. And all the way we went across the sea, so straight over like Cuba and all that, and it was rocking all over the show. And it got rid of all my phobias of turbulence and stuff like that. It's just rocking. I was sat there like that. There's a family behind me, like spewing up all the time. And it's like, this is crap. This is. My TV didn't even work, so I couldn't watch anything. I was 8 hours and sat there like jiggling around. Yeah, that got over that initial fear of it anyway.
I can't remember. It probably was the Australia flight, and we were going. I don't know which leg it was. We went like say Heraclian, and then like was it Nairobi or whatever, Mombasa, Nairobi, whatever the order was. But there was one bit where, as you said, Andy, whether it was like you were hit by somebody, it's like what was that? So then your stomach's gone a little bit. And you know on those little screens where you've got like the altimeter or whatever, and it's like 36,000 feet, and you're like, 28,000 feet. What?
Oh, no,
like, we've just dropped like 70,000 feet in 70 seconds. You're like, shit, like seriously? Like, can that even happen?
I've seen airplane, that's not good.
No, do you know what I mean? So literally you're flying along, but all of a sudden like, whoa, and you're like, whoa, what? How did that work? And literally you can feel your stomach going, whoa, and we, I mean, I don't know how far we actually fell. We didn't really fall, but how far we dropped. But the altimeter was literally like, at one point it was like say 36,000 or 24,000, whatever you fly at. And then the next time you looked at it, it was like 3,000 foot lower than that or something. You're like, geez, like what's just happened, sort of thing. And then you sort of just slowly ascend back up to where we're now back at cruising altitude. You're like, okay, thanks, Mr. Captain. Sort of thing, you know. But yeah, weird.
I'm not troubled by flying at all, but I've been, like I say, I've been on a plane when somebody was, and we were going over to Dublin, so it's literally only about a half an hour flight, and there was like a stag weekend on there, and there was one guy on it who was petrified of flying. And it's only a short flight, so literally we're up and over, and virtually I barely had time to drink my Heineken before we were coming back down again. And literally, obviously you've got like a load of drunk lads, we're going to crash, just to terrify their mate. And then to make matters worse, pilot got his descent wrong, so I had to pull back up again. That was just it. I thought this guy was going to literally pulling the door off. I've never seen a dude so panicked in all my life. I felt for him a little bit, although I did have a bit of a laugh at his expense. One of the other things, actually, I did mention in the UK, rats ranks pretty highly. People not, I get that one. They're not unpleasant things, but rodents don't particularly bother me. Do any of you guys bother by them?
Not my. Look, I think since the I'm a celebrity or whatever, get me out of this type thing.
Can't watch it because of the spiders.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I think since then it's like, oh my god, I'm underground, and all of a sudden I've got rats all around me, and I'd be a bit like, yeah, I could probably do with that.
Yeah,
like rats don't massively.
It's like big gerbils.
Rats don't matter because you think, you know what? Unless they're fudging rabid or something, they're not going to bite you. So actually, as long as they're crawling over you, it's fine, isn't it?
I don't know. If you haven't been bit by a gerbil, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
Yeah, but they're not just going to randomly just chomp on your leg or whatever, are they? You know what I mean?
Could be diseased. A lot of insects chew their brain and like they make them angry, sort of thing. So if you see them like in the sewer or whatever, or behind co-op or something like that, they can be rabid or whatever. Rabid.
That's what I'm saying. If they're rabid or whatever, or rabid, then yeah, fair enough. But
other supermarkets have rats as well. Many don't.
I was just thinking of local ones.
I don't know. So yeah,
I was going to say Woolworths.
Yeah, I think that's what finished him off.
Have I ever been in a situation where I've been surrounded by them and actually? No, not really. Have I seen them? Yeah, like not often, obviously, because you don't really see rats as such. But I don't think. Look, you never know. It goes back to whatever episode we were talking about last time about the sort of the fight, flight, freeze sort of syndrome and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I'd like to think that they wouldn't possibly bother me, but I suppose I'm lying down and they're all crawling over me, I might be absolutely petrified. Something, but no, I don't know. I don't think so.
Here's a couple from the US then. 8.9% of people had said they were afraid of zombies. 7.3% afraid of ghosts. And one of the ones that ranked highly in the US, but not in the UK, which surprised me a little bit that it didn't.
Trump?
Well, we should be living in fear of a Trump. Public speaking.
No, I get that.
But in the UK, it didn't rank. But in the US, it does. I do not like public speaking. You're a teacher.
Yeah, I teach. So obviously, but I'm okay with it because I teach, and obviously having you lead sort of staff briefings and stuff, and you've got, and actually potentially it's a bit worse when you're talking to sort of your peers and your colleagues and stuff, as opposed to an assembly worth of 200 kids or 300 kids or whatever. But yeah, I get that, because when you're training and you go through, even obviously when you're at uni and stuff, and they sort of talk about assemblies and talking and how you present what it is that you want to say, you are a bit nervous about it, and it does. And there's so many people that I'm not saying that. I'm not doing that. And there is a genuine I'm not getting up and saying that in front of all those people. And obviously, captain of cricket clubs and golf clubs and stuff, and you have to make speeches. There was one when I was captain of the golf club. We had the I think it's the English counties final or whatever. So you've got some proper decent players, people that you will see on TV now.
You respect.
And they would play, and I was obviously captain of the club, and you would have like the chairman of the English Golf Union there, and it's like, right, I'm now going to ask Mr. Pickford to say a few words, and you study there, I think it's like you get a blazer on, your jacket on and stuff, and captain, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, like, this should be second nature to me, because I teach, I do this all the time. But you've got like people, like I say, that you see on TV now that are on tour and they're playing. You've got all people that you respect as players, and you've got all these dignitaries, and you're like, this is a bit different. And then, you're like, oh my God. And you're like, and it wasn't quite as much as, you look at your notes and it's not quite as much as that. But I sort of do get it. I do get that. Now, I think I'm okay at that now. And obviously I don't have a feeling about it because it's part of my job as such. But yeah, I do get it. I do get that.
What about you, Andy? Are you comfortable with public speaking?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I hated it. I'd be like, oh my God, I really don't want to do this and stuff. But I think over time, I don't mind it. I've had to do presentations in front of people, and whether it's like about technology or something like that. So depending on the subject, I don't mind.
I think that's it, Andy. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you're comfortable with sort of what you're talking about, and it's in your area and it's in your expertise and stuff, I think that makes you slightly more comfortable.
I've said before, maybe on the podcast I don't come across as shy, but you know me, I am a fairly shy individual. It takes a few beers inside me to sort of really bring me out of my shell. Now, our good friend Bill, our unofficial PR guy, now he's asked me to be the best man at his wedding, and honestly, I'll
give you some points, dude.
Yeah, I'll just stitch somebody up. Just for the record, there, Gaz was the best man at my wedding. So I knew some stories he was going to stitch up with. A few more he didn't share because it involved him and he didn't want to look back. Hey, look, there's a mixed audience there. I can't go through every story, can I? You know what I mean? It's true. Yeah, that is very true.
But no, I mean, obviously, I was best man for Sid, and obviously best man for you. So yeah, if you want some points, dude,
I've been best man before, and I was best man at my younger brother's wedding. Now, fortunately, actually, that was a fairly small affair. I don't know, maybe about 15, 16 people there. So I was still nervous about standing up and doing it, but obviously I'd had a few beers inside me, and I was okay by then, because it was just literally 15, 16 people, and I knew everybody in that room, so that wasn't so bad. But I generally absolutely thrilled to be asked by Bill to be the best man, because it is an honour.
Yeah, I know, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Absolute honour. But yeah, still nervous about doing that. Sorry, dude, it's picking up on Mike.
All right.
Absolutely. Nervous about standing up and talking in front of everybody, because I am shy. Even though
you are, and it is. It does sort of boil down to anyway your audience, doesn't it? It is who's there and what are their expectations. Do they know you? Do they not know you? And if you are being a best man, what can you say? What can you not say? Trying to gauge the stories about, do you involve stories about sort of the groom and you and how you know him and your past, and then you think, but then the bride's side of the family will be going like, well, I'm bored with this now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like trying to gauge that.
You've all been at that wedding where the person has made a speech and it's absolutely bombed, and you've sort of sat there thinking,
yeah. And part I was thinking, God, I hope that's not mine now. But no, there are times when you sit and you think, God, I wish you'd just be over it. And to be fair, there's a father, the bride gets up and you're like, oh God, and you just. And to be fair, Sid obviously did sort of quite a good job at mine, really, and he was obviously brilliant. Relatively, and he did do a fantastic. And Sid's quite nervous in terms of speaking, but he was good, really.
Brilliant.
His speech was very good. So, but good luck with that, dude.
Actually, just on that one, though, because actually, when you think about it, when it comes to giving those speeches, we get to complete that holy trifecta. We've done the grooms, done the best man, and we get to be the father of the bride at some point.
Yeah,
that's a scary thought.
That's
one you'll be nervous for, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's the one I'd be most nervous for.
Yeah, me too.
Most nervous for, yeah, absolutely.
Mine's a few years in the future, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I hope mine is. Might be a few years closer than yours, but I'm still hoping it's a few years down the line.
Yeah, I know. I said I was quite confident. I'm best man for my mate, and I only know his family and him and his bride, and that's it. So it's going to be like. I think they're on about inviting like hundreds of people and all this shit. And they're not going to get me or my humour or anything like that.
I think live from that wedding, I'm thinking.
Is it 2021?
How not to do it. It is actually.
It's another trip. It's another trip.
It'll either be on You Being Framed or like Crime Watch or something.
Oh no, we need to be at that one, don't we?
Yeah, I'm dreading it.
No, honestly, you'll be fine. Just go with a few anecdotes, go with a few stories, and worst case scenario, if it's going a bit sort of tits up, just wrap it up and just make sure you get in the things that you need to say, because obviously there's various things that you have to say. You have to thank the bridesmaids on behalf of, and you have to mention it. You have to talk about it. So make sure you get those in, and then if it's going tits up, just go. And I'm going to wrap it up nice and quickly now. And so all the best. Cheers. Hope you have a great night. And literally just knock it on the head. Just get it done.
I'll set the fire alarm off. It'll be easier.
Just get Amy primed for that one. So I also found an article when I was researching this, and it listed it's in the Metro newspaper, top 20 fears in the UK. Now I felt that they literally handed a list of people with 20 on it and said, which one of these are you afraid of? Because none of them really resonated in terms of the ones you'd expect to be there. So I'm going to read some out and let me know if any of these actually resonate with you, because a few of them did. Number one, clowns. Anybody bothered by clowns?
No.
Not genuine clowns, but scary clowns in certain horror films. You're like, yeah, okay.
But it's designed to frighten you. I think it's okay to be frightened.
No, not for me.
Number two, feet.
I don't like feet.
Yeah, see, this is what I started thinking. Am I afraid of them? No. Do I like looking at them? No. They're hideous thing, like deformed hands.
And when I worked at Leicester years and years ago, and I was doing lifeguarding and stuff, I could quite happily deal with broken bones and cuts and this, that, and the other. But eyes and feet, nah, not for me. And when I went to Australia, actually, I walked one of the hotels we were staying at. It was a bit like a paved sort of patio area with a pool and stuff. And I walked along this, and I basically, and you can't really see, but I basically like did that with my toe, and I basically like jutted into like a slightly raised bit of sort of stone. And if you imagine that being my toe, basically like I cut from like this side to this side, and you could basically sort of just not quite flap it over sort of to that extent, but like a great big sort of cut like that. And I was a bit like sort of thing. And obviously the tour doctor and stuff, they said this is right, you got to get it clean and stuff. So they washed it and then they scrubbed it, and I was like sort of thing. And then they basically had butterfly sort of clipped it over and then bandaged it and stuff. So I think maybe from that moment, anything to do like toes, or I'm a bit like
I just don't like looking.
And then eyes, but yeah, I quite happily deal with like broken bones and stuff. But yeah, feet, nah, not massive, not a phobia, but I'm not massive.
Don't like them, yeah. Birds,
don't bother me.
Andy, I'm thinking ornithologically speaking.
Yeah, okay.
Some of the other times they
if you ever been to Stoke,
yeah, they bother me a lot.
I don't mind birds. Funnily enough, a few weeks back, I had to go out with work anyway. And we went to KFC, sat in my van eating my food and all that. And this bird landed on my mirror. So I was just like, wind the window up. it's like a foot away from my face, just staring at me. I was like, what the hell's this?
Probably eating its cousin.
It's good.
I know, yeah.
It's tasty. Number 4, Phobia. If I pronounce that right, I'll be amazed. Belly buttons.
Don't bother me.
Andy?
Yeah, like feet, I don't like them.
Innies and outies. Dude, even outies?
Not bothered.
Oh, man.
Generally not something I've ever thought
Don't
about.
like them. Don't like the thought of people touching them. Oh, no, goes through me. Anyone touches mine. No!
Honestly, it doesn't bother me.
No, it troubles me. No, it troubles me. 5, lumpy food.
No, whatever.
Andy?
My cooking's all lumpy, so it's fine.
It's food, isn't it?
Your cookie's just meat. 6 was fish.
Yeah, I'm not asked. Yeah, fine.
7, buttons.
Buttons.
I know
Cadbury's buttons.
Cadbury's buttons, I'm really okay with that. I've got no problem
Yeah,
with that.
no, fine.
8, bananas. I mean, that Mongozo banana. Gee, you always.
I don't like that, and I don't like bananas, but I haven't got a phobia about them, I suppose. But
I mean, 9. You say Andy and I are unfamiliar. This one, hair.
no, not. How do you have a phobia?
10 was stairs.
Hairy feet, what about that?
Oh, no, not good with that. 10 was stairs. 11, food with holes in it. 12, fake nails. 13, pagonophobia, fear of beards.
No.
That's a strange one.
Yeah.
4 shower curtains. 14 shower curtains. Is this the weirdest list ever? I don't like shower curtains. I always prefer a glass door because they are always cold when they stick to your back.
Is that like the psycho thing though? Of what's behind it when you're in the shower?
Possibly, but I was reading this list and
Yeah,
some of them resonate. 15 squirrels. I know my nan was terrified of squirrels. 16 broccoli. And 17 was the weirdest one. The Pope.
No. Dude. No.
I don't know who wrote this article, but some of them resonated. 18 plasters, no. 19 fizzy drinks, no. 20 pregnant women.
No.
No.
You got a phobia of pregnant women?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Trouble me, like when Kim's pregnant twice, put my hand in your belly, it's like, I've seen Alien.
We're going to be like after number 3 as well.
Oh, they joke about it. They don't even joke about it, dude. But honestly,
No, I don't mind pregnant women.
Just seen something moving around in the
Loved it.
extended.
Loved it.
Some people do.
Loved it.
Are
Genuinely loved it. Yeah.
unusually fond of it. You one of those folks?
Not unusually fond of it, no, but it wasn't something that I looked at and went, ooh. But no, not at all. I'll be honest. Abby, who's my youngest daughter, she has, what's it now called? Is it astrophobia or something like that, which is fear of thunder and lightning. She hates it.
Really?
Genuinely is frightened and has a phobia and has a fear of thunder and lightning.
Oh, wow.
Genuinely. Like we went to Florida, obviously. You get some storms and stuff in Florida, and we were at might be Volcano Bay, one of the sort of water parks and stuff, and the weather warning came through and they closed all the rides and stuff. So we were like, well, I'll tell you what, we've been here for a few hours now. We're going to get changed and then we're going to grab something to eat and go to a different park or whatever. And we came back out and it was proper hosing down. And I mean like hosing down. And everybody was just sort of huddled under these like buildings. You couldn't go anywhere outside. It was literally like bouncing down. Next minute, there's like an almighty crack. And genuinely, it was like oh, bloody hell sort of thing. You know, it was a crack. And you're like, bloody hell. And this storm come over and it was horrendous. And bless her, Abigail was proper like shaking. And when we flew when we flew in the summer, when we went to Greece, Rhodes, we're flying over Germany and there was a the pilot, the captain came on and said, "There's a storm. It's below us, so we don't need to change course or anything. But it's below us. But if you look out like your left-hand side window, you might see a bit of it." Mate, it was mint. So you were flying over it, and you could see all the clouds lighting up with the lightning, and obviously you couldn't hear anything, but you could see it. You could see, and Abby not having it, literally not having it. I was like, Abby, I don't know what you know about like physics and stuff, and I might be wrong in saying this, but lightning doesn't go up. It goes down.
Yeah.
So like you could literally see. I point out the window. It's like, look, the storm's down there, and we're up here, and that ain't gonna get to us, sort of thing. And it was mint, like that's the whole sky. But what you could see there, and I could just imagine being under there, looking up, going, "Oh my god, that's amazing!"
Actually, if you are a meteorologist, though, get in touch, because I'm with Gaz. As far as I know, lightning goes down. It's attracted to the
It goes down, doesn't it? It can't go up.
It can't go up. If it can, get in touch and let us know. I'll be interested to know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
I agree with you, though. I don't think you can.
But it's weird because, and going back to when I was in Australia, the best, other than being in Florida, which we were with the family, the best storm that I saw was actually when I was in Sydney in Australia. Absolutely amazing storm. And we were in Sydney, we were in a hotel, and the whole of the Sydney skyline was just lit up with like lightning, and obviously the storm come over, and it was bouncing down, and genuinely the rain was bouncing down, and the whole of the city skyline, the lightning would sort of light up, and you could literally make out like it was just to quote Ad, it's phenomenal. It was an amazing storm, and that's the best storm that I've seen. But Abigail
wouldn't have appreciated it.
Not at all, no. And I might be wrong. Astrophobia, maybe.
I could see the logic behind that name, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So she hates it.
Is it that or fear of the Houston Astros? So, one person who should have been on this podcast tonight, who actually is not feeling 100%. So, Ken, we'll drink a beer to you, dude, and hope you're feeling brighter. One of the questions I've been asking that bear in mind Ken's level of expertise and interest was past lives. Do you believe that your past life could play an effect as to why you were afraid of something? Does that sound feasible?
It sounds feasible, I suppose, if it's an irrational thought and you don't know where that fear comes from, and you believe in reincarnation or past life or whatever it may be. I suppose if you have in a past life been burnt or been in a fire, do you have then a phobia of that, and you don't really know where that comes from? So maybe. I sort of get that. I suppose if you believe in,
you need to believe in it, don't you?
Yeah, I think you need to believe in that past life experience, reincarnation, to maybe try and rationalize where that fear comes from, and you potentially could rationalize it in as much as, well, actually one of my past lives was somebody that drowned, or somebody that got burnt, or somebody that fell off a height, or whatever it may be. So I suppose you could rationalise it like that, but I suppose you would need to believe it.
You need to believe it,
yeah. And I'm sure if Ken was here, he'd be like, "Oh yeah." He'd be straight down there, straight involved.
That question was written bearing in mind that he was supposed to be with us tonight. Andy, what were your thoughts on that one? Bunkum?
I think it could be plausible. I think no one knows the afterlife and all that stuff. I'm sure there's been a few films about it where people have, in past lives done this, that, and the other, and then it affects their current life. So, yeah, don't know.
Could have been that Red Stream we talked about on the Halloween episode.
I'm sure there's a film called. I'm doubting myself now. Something like Mary Rose or something. It's not the chip, obviously. And
is it about the sauce?
No, that's Mary Rose.
Oh, okay.
But and basically there was a little girl who she got trapped in. Her family died in a car crash, and she got trapped in the car, and she was trying to escape the car. She was putting her hands on the rear window, and she burned in her hands because it was just flames all around and stuff. And then she reincarnated, I think, and the person she reincarnated had a phobia of, and it was only through, is it hypnotic transgression or whatever they call it, where they hypnotise you and then they go back through, they realised that it was this person sort of thing. But that might have been that. I don't know if I can remember the film, but yeah, she burnt all her hands, and this
doesn't sound like a very good film.
No. Let's just say, well, it was a psychological thriller or whatever it was. So.
Was it made by Hallmark? It's got a Hallmark.
But yeah, so it was, but that was a past experience, a past sort of whatever manifesting itself in you as a fear. But yeah, it wasn't great.
So finally, then, before we close out, I've jotted down a couple of fears with peculiar names. So I'll chuck them out as questions. See if either of you can tell me without googling. And if your face lights up, I know you're on the PCB. You can see. We see the lights when they happen. So electrophobia. What's electrophobia the fear of?
Is it static or something like that?
I see the logic. It just sort of leads you down the
sound.
Chickens.
Okay. Seriously?
Yeah. Do
you know where the name comes from?
No, I just Google the names, dude. I didn't go that.
Okay.
So, nephophobia.
Nephophobia.
Kidneys.
I like where you've gone with that one. No. Andy?
Not a clue on that one.
Clouds.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As opposed to clownophobia.
Clouds, not clowns.
Oh, right. I say clowns.
Yeah. Clownophobia is a good name, though. Isoprotophobia. I put this one down to just being plumb ugly.
Ugly people?
No. But, Andy, we're looking at you.
Money savings, ISA?
No, mirrors. So you know, while looking in the mirror, it could very much be down to your appearance.
I just don't like looking in mirrors.
And this is one which harps back to the episode, Gaz, that you did on school days, right?
Okay.
Iraqi butyrophobia.
School dinners.
No. Oh. You're right on something you put in your mouth.
Crayons.
You shouldn't put crayons in your mouth. Just
we had a girl.
Tall Boy Radio does not endorse consumption.
Only because we had a girl when we went to primary school. Then I don't know whether I mentioned it on that episode. She used to eat Crayola crayons. So
do you want to name her?
No. No. I don't even know whether friends on Facebook, but no, I don't want to name her now.
Yeah, tag her in. Andy,
what was the word again?
Oh, you're making me say it again.
Oh, the worst one's going to be next. Iraqi butyrophobia.
Iraqi sounds spidery-ish.
It does, but it's not. It's related to a story you told about me. And my Guinness World Record attempts.
Peanut butter.
Fear of peanut butter.
Wow,
sticking
really?
to the roof of your mouth.
Wow, okay.
I don't know if that qualifies as a phobia. Then finally, hippopotomonstrosesquipedaliophobia. He's looking.
Well, the obvious one would be hippopotamus, but I'm not going for that.
No. Don't make me pronounce it again, Andy, because I'm pretty sure I did a poor job of it the first time around.
Large creatures.
Large is right with the word large, but not creatures. Andy?
I don't know, the board game, scared of Trivia Pursuit games or something.
Oh, those are hungry hippos.
I was trying not to say the word, but yeah, that one.
No, it's a fear of long words. I'm not being funny. When you're diagnosed with that, you're going to shit yourself.
Seriously, like 24-hour theory, because Abby must have said that word, because when she said, "Oh, what are you doing on TBR?" I was like, "Oh, doing phobias," and she went, "You do know that like the fear of long words is like a really long word," and I was like. And she said that word, but she didn't say it like that. So I was like,
well, she probably pronounced it correctly.
Well, I wouldn't bet on it. But honestly, she literally said, "You do know that fear of long words is like a ridiculously long word." I was like,
if you're diagnosed with that, though, it's not going to make things any better, is it?
No. So what's your diagnosis with? Yeah. You get through the hippo. That's it, and it's gone.
I know a lot of medical stuff is Latin, but oh my god, like them ones you just listed, then it's like you couldn't tell what they were.
No, not at all.
I was looking up a few that I thought these would be interesting. So I thought, obviously, and Andy's colouring, we could do an interesting one. That so I looked up fear of red-headed people, gingerphobia. Yeah, honestly, yeah. And honestly, I looked through a few ones. I thought this is going to be interesting. It's like just really obvious words. I can't use any of those.
No.
There wasn't a fear of podcasts.
It's weird though, because, and I suppose it goes back to the human nature stuff, but what one person finds absolutely doesn't bother them whatsoever, other people can have such a massive sort of irrational phobia, fear about that, and it's like, nah, it doesn't bother me. Like you spiders, it's like, nah, they're all right. But then if I say something, you'd be like, really? And it's just...
Could you face your fear though? Because the thing is for me with spiders, I mentioned it in a previous podcast when I did Beans Does Stuff. I forget what it was about, but I said I was terrified of spiders. And somebody messaged me and said, this is a course of action you can take. And I replied, like, no, honestly, I do not want curing. The thought of being able to go near one and not being afraid of one is just as terrifying as being afraid of one, having one in the room, if that makes any sense. Facing your fears, for me, that's almost the ultimate.
Yeah, that's. I say, obviously, growing up, sort of dentists and stuff, and I now go, and when I first went in my sort of after the teens and after growing up and stuff, which I didn't go for years really, and I remember the reception said, you got to fill out the first time you fill out like not an application but like a questionnaire. And I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not really, 10 being extremely, how nervous are you about your visit to the dentist? I was like, well, is there a 20? Something, I'm literally like,
that bad?
Yeah. Oh, dude, terrible. And I remember going the first time that I'd been for years, and basically that tooth dropped out, because that's a false one now, so that dropped out. And I think it's due to when I was a kid, basically me and another lad, we sort of ran around the corner of the primary school, and we basically bumped sort of heads and stuff like that sort of thing. And basically that teeth lost its oxygen supply, so then over a number of years died, and there's a bit of a hole in it. So that's the false one now. So then I had to go to the dentist, and Jenny had to come with me. So Jenny literally had to come with me, and I'm in the waiting room, and I'm like, she's like, are you all right? I'm like, no, I'm genuinely like, excuse my French, I shitting myself sort of thing. And then the sort of the dental nurse or receptionist ever said, oh wait, you fill in this. And literally I said, is there a 20? Because on a scale of 1 to nervous, I'm like beyond that, I'm like horrendous. And I said, could Jenny come in with me? And they said, well, she can initially, but she might not be able to sit with you, but she can sit in there. And literally I'm sitting, and as soon as they went, like, can you? Literally, I sat there and I was a bit shaky, sort of thing, and then they went back, and I was like my whole body was like sort of like see, just hold still. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying, dude, sort of thing, And I still go, and I go over it. But even now, I'm proper like anxious. I'm not quite as bad, but I'll sit there and I'll be like, I'm a bit like.
Most people don't like the dentist.
Yeah,
thought of needles in the old mouth, and
I don't know what it is. It's not the needle in the mouth or whatever. It's just the dentist, and it was. But yeah, the first time that I had to go back, Jenny literally had to go with me and was like, effectively, as a grown man, holding my hand as I'm going in, I feel like an absolute little kid again, sort of thing. It's weird, isn't it? But
I've got a bad story about dentist when I was a kid, but one for
don't tell me that, because I'll be having nightmares about it.
One for another episode, that one now, I fear. So we're right at the end of the episode now, around about the hour mark. Has anybody got any final thoughts about phobias before we say goodbye?
I know you always have an idea of a follow up to phobias. We're not meeting our phobias, dude.
No, good. Oh, okay, yeah.
I was going to say, because I could throw a box of spiders at you.
Yeah, see, this is it. I jotted down. I did actually say in here somewhere about doing a follow episode, and it would have been facing our fears, but I was kind of relying on one of you guys having a fear that you were comfortable about facing. Which doesn't really make sense, because if it's a fear you're not comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I am absolutely not willing to do an episode
where you face your fear.
Yeah, about spiders. No way, dude.
Is it that bad?
I am absolutely petrified. And the worst thing is Kim's terrified of them as well. So when there's a spider in the house, there's no muggins here, has to deal with them.
Tiddy saw it.
I do no. You joke about this, right? We have sort of pushed her in that direction of not being afraid of spiders.
Just because you two are.
Yeah, it backfired. It backfired massively. She had a little one of those things for kids where you catch insects in it, a little thing. It's got a magnifying glass on top, right? So we got one of those. So anyway, she's out in the garden, caught a spider because she's not bothered by it. Shoved it in the top. We couldn't cope with the screw cap, so came running in the house. Dad, can you just put the top on? I did not react well.
Get rid of it.
Just send her over to GFG to be fine, not a problem.
I should have done.
You should, dude, send her over. Honestly, it's fine, not a problem. I'll deal with spiders all day.
Well, yeah, we'll send her over then.
Absolutely, I've got a problem with that.
Knock on the door and ask for Jenny.
Don't ask for any of the girls on Jenny because they'll literally be running a mile. But yeah, no, I don't mind that.
Cool. So let's close it out then. Andy, do you want to say goodbye, dude?
Yeah, light-hearted episode, and let us know your fears and phobias and what makes you cry in the night and all that stuff. Cheers.
100% do, but don't send pictures of spiders.
Or toes.
Or toes. Or
Yeah.
belly buttons or pregnant bellies.
Pregnant belly, yeah. No, yeah, as Andy said, it's a bit more of a light-hearted sort of episode. Loved it, but just a bit of a laugh, sort of seeing what sort of spooks people and stuff. And if you want to get in touch with us with your spider stories, then that's fine. Tag a couple of photos on just to see Adam's reaction would be great. And
At Ramus Winstall on Twitter for that.
I don't mind that. I'll forward it to TBR. It's fine. Adam will see it. It's not a problem. But yeah, been great catching up again, guys. And if any of you out there, and as Andy said, if any of you out there have genuine stories about phobias or maybe meeting your phobia or overcoming your phobia, we'd love to listen. Love to hear from you. And send us a voice message. Get in touch with us in all the normal ways. And look forward to next time. It's been a pleasure, guys. And Gaz out.
Actually, though, guys, that is a really good show. If we did want to do a follow-up episode to somebody facing their fears, it doesn't have to be one of those.
Not at all, no.
It could be a listener who wants to face their fears.
We'll help them do that. We'll help them achieve it.
Get in contact. We will 100% make that happen as long as it's not spiders and I have to be in the same room as them. But seriously, though, that would be a great episode, wouldn't it? If someone got in contact and said, I am terrified of this, will you help me?
Absolutely, yeah.
100% we will. We'll do whatever we can. So until next time, when no doubt we'll have plenty more stuff to talk about. Take care.